Alrighty everyone, welcome back to Old Trucks and Junk, and today we have an old truck SUV, whatever y'all want to call it. This is a 1989 Suburban V1500, four-wheel drive. So basically how this whole thing happened was I had a blue Ford listed on Marketplace. I said $3,000 or trade for a Suburban or a first-gen Dodge. I was really hoping for the Suburban. I actually had a lot of Dodges pop up, but I wanted to hold off to see if I could find a Suburban. Sure enough, we found one. The guy drove 2 hours to come pick this up. Well, not pick this up, pick the Ford up and drop this off. And yeah, so it had sat for about 6 years. Original owner died, so he had to go through all the paperwork crap. And yeah, today we're going to be going through and trying to figure out what issues it has. He said it's got quite a few issues, but honestly, it doesn't look too terrible at the moment. I mean, it sat all night and it fired right up this morning and drove and backed up in here. So, you know, you can't really beat that. I mean, the Ford also did that, but yet again, the Ford was also another 20 years older. So, on that note, let's start chugging this monster and let's get looking at this thing and see what's wrong with it. Alrighty, everyone. So, as I was just saying, we got the sucker in a trade. It is a 89 V1500. It's four-wheel drive. It's got 31s on it right now. Pretty sure it's stock. Height, as you can see, those are pretty bowed out. It's been used. This looks like brand new though. This front chrome. Like, I mean, look at that. The welds aren't even rusted yet. But, anyway, she's got some rust. Nothing I can stick my finger through at the moment. Maybe that. It's got one big rust hole right there. Nothing really too terrible. A little paint peel right there. Bubbling happening right about here. A little bit of rust there. A little rust there. Back end of it's pretty solid, besides right there, and up here where the window is. Now this window is controlled by electric, and this thing didn't have a key. You start with a screwdriver, and for whatever reason, because they had to do that, this rear window for some sort won't go up. I don't know what the whole deal is with that. Kind of weird having a gas tank on the passenger side. Haven't had that on the rig yet. The whole goal for this is to throw it on a 4-inch lift and get some 35s on it to match my black four-door square body over there. So, looking at it, rust isn't too terrible. The main issues he said is it leaks transmission fluid a lot. When you stop, it doesn't want to go all the way down into first. It just wants to stay in second. What else? That other side window on that side's cracked. But I mean, so is this guy, but it doesn't look like it's going to break anytime soon. And that's still solid. Got a couple cracks in the windshield. Interior is not terrible. I mean, that seat's a little questionable. I don't know what's on it, but it's questionable. From what he says, it only has the, like, 95,000 original on it, which, might be 190,000. But yeah, I mean, anyway, there's not a lot of junk in here, so I think what we're gonna end up doing is just cleaning it out. What? Gigi loves going for rides, so every single time I open the door, she thinks I'm gonna leave her. I'm not. But I think what we're gonna end up doing is just getting this back cleared out, getting up there cleaned out real quick. I'll bring it all back, and I think the first thing we're gonna try and do is get that rear window rolled up, because it's supposed to be raining for the next couple of weeks on and off, and I really don't want this thing to get moldy. So let me get all cleaned out, and I'll bring it all back when we're ready to start that. All right, everyone, so now you can see the rear window's up. So I ended up crawling down here, and I'm like, and I guess we don't need that anymore. I'm not putting that back on. So I'm under here. Hi, Gigi. Hi, Gigi babies. What are you doing, puppers? What are you doing? Want to say hi to the people? I know. You want to be underneath this truck with me 24/7. Oh, what? You're going to lay down on me now? Fine. Okay. Get out of my ear, dog. So I came down here, and what I ended up finding is that there were 2 wires hanging down here. This one and this one. And there were 2 bare wires over there that matched them. Come to find out, those need to be connected for the switch to work, because it had a power and a ground, but these are actually what make the windows go up and down. So I just grabbed some alligator clips, clipped them together, and just like that, they're working now. So I'm going to disconnect these now, let the windows up, because I'm assuming there's a reason for why they were off to begin with and why they were cut. Probably a drainage of power, or I don't know, but something for sure. So we're just going to tuck them up in there. If they touch, they don't arc out, so there's nothing in there completing the circuit, so we should be fine. Oh, let's get up now. So that's one big issue that is now fixed on this thing. Is the rear windows up? You like my smiley face, huh? But yeah, that's one main issue fixed with that. So now we're gonna crawl up to the front underneath where the transmission goes, and he said that it was puking out transmission fluid, but I haven't seen any drops come out of that thing. So I'm gonna get this electrical box put back together, and we're gonna go underneath there next and see if it's actually leaking or if it's not. If it's a leak like my Dodge has, where you gotta add transmission fluid monthly, I'm not too worried about it. I'm just worried if it's like actually puking. So let me get my board moved out here, and we'll check that out next.
Alrighty, everyone. Good morning. This morning we are going to be dropping the transmission pan gasket, seeing if we can't reseal it. Who knows, maybe the bolts are just loose, I don't know. I didn't really get a whole bunch of sleep last night, but it's my day off, so we're gonna fiddle fart with this. We got Gigi here with us. She's expecting the new vehicle. Not know if it's up to her standards quite yet, but she likes the rigs. Yes, you do. You like the rigs. Yes. What? Oh, hi. Oh, stretches. Oh, stretches for the Gigi. All right, get down. I gotta do stuff. All right, so I think the first thing that I want to do is crawl underneath this thing. Whoa, I am way off from that transmission. Anyway, it does just look like a whole bunch of 10mm bolts. So you can see she's leaking pretty good. Where's that? On the other end? I might have to go to the other side to do this. It looks more open. But, is that? That's red gasket maker on the fucking oil nut. Huh, well. However, we have new, looks like 3-inch exhaust all the way to the back with a new muffler welded onto it, so that's nice. Everything under here is really solid. Surprisingly, probably from that freaking leak from the transmission, keeping it all oiled, not getting rusty. The body didn't do so hot, but down here it did. So I'm gonna move over to the other side, and we're gonna see if we can't drop that pan without doing too much. So that must be the reason why I keep smelling transmission fluid, is it's dropping down on the downpipe. Boy, oh boy, what am I doing? Anyway, we're gonna we're gonna get a 10mm in there, and we're gonna drop that gasket. See why it's leaking so bad. So I'm gonna do that and bring it all back here in a minute. Alrighty, once we have that gasket off. Hi. What? You want pets? Am I not giving you attention this morning?
Oh, you want pets? Oh, the puppers. Hey, I gotta show the people what we're doing today. Okay, get down. I gotta show them. Get down. Just boop the camera too. I know, hi. Okay, fine. So stay right here. Thank you. So, we got the pan off. It was actually more of a fight than I wanted it to be. However, it doesn't look like the pan itself has a hole in it. There's one good nick there I'm a little worried about. And then another one right there. But it's all leaking from up here. And when I flip this up like this, that's all just residual. But I did not once push this oil pan over to where the transmission fluid was overflowing out. That's just what was behind the gasket. The gasket's right here, which was absolutely soaked. So I don't know what gasket this is, but it sucks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some parts cleaner. We're going to clean that sucker all off, and then we're going to go through and re-gasket it. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to get busy on that, and then I'll bring it all back when it's probably up and in the Bourbon. So give me about a couple hours, but for you, it'll be like 1 second. So see y'all in a second. Alrighty, everyone. So got the gasket back in, the hood's popped on it. I filled it up to full mark, and I've been letting it sit here and run for probably a good 10-20 minutes and nothing yet. So there's no leaks. I'm gonna sit here for a little bit longer. However, I am worried about it because now there is only about 7 psi of oil pressure on the gauge, and the temp's rising pretty quick. So I think there might be some more stuff that we got to do to it. It shouldn't overheat just sitting. I know these old cars do, but this is new enough that I don't think it should be overheating. I mean, it's staying below 210 right in the middle. But I mean, oil pressure though is below 15. So I mean, that's not the best. I mean, she's idling, no more leaks that I can tell. So I'm gonna let it idle here for another 10-15, and then we'll go park it and come out later, see if anything else leaked. So me and Gigi are just gonna be sitting here and chilling. Bring it all back in a minute. So she's still running cool, but I have no more oil pressure. But I don't know whether I believe that gauge or not, because I can still... I can get my screwdriver in here. I can shut it off and it fires right back up. So I don't know if I believe it or not. But anyway, the transmission gasket crap's fixed, from what I can tell. It's no longer puking fluid out. So, I mean, just sitting there running, we would have lost a quart running it back and forth. So, I don't know. Might be a little bit fixed. It might not. I don't know. That oil pressure thing makes me worry a little bit. But I mean, that other Ford had just as little oil pressure, so I mean, I guess it's the same. I mean, my red Ford over there, it ran without any oil pressure for two whole years. And I just now got it to have oil pressure. So I think this should be fine, right? As long as it has a little. Maybe I'll throw some diesel oil on it. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, that is fixed. There's nothing really else wrong with it. We already fixed the rear window. I guess let's check turn signals real quick, because I hate dealing with wiring. And might as well just do it today while I'm already out here tinkering with it, if it doesn't have any. That's another thing, is it has to start with a key instead of a screwdriver. Okay, let's see here. We have it on the dash. Do we have it up here? We got our side. Okay. It's working up here. Let's check the rear. Yep, it's working. Okay, that side's on. It's working even though it's bashed in. This side's working too. So, that's good. That means I don't have to deal with wiring for once. There we go. And let's shut her off. And ta-da, just like that. Gotta put the window up. Think the last thing we're gonna end up doing with this is waiting until I get a cache and throwing a lift kit on her. Probably only a 4-inch. I would do a 6-inch like my Chev, but those lifts are like $2,000, and I don't want to spend that on this thing. I only basically got it in the trade, and I only had $2,000 invested in that truck, so don't really want to put another $2,000 into something with rotted out body. So anyway, I'll bring it all back when we go to do something else with this thing. All right, everyone. So I figured we might as well do one more thing with the Suburban before I go ordering lift kit and all the other BS. And that is to probably go through and put the wires back on the rear window. It either looked like they were cut for some reason or something. I don't know if someone in there did that purposefully or they just didn't know what they were doing and thought that was wires for something else. Cut them. But we're gonna back it up in here and we're gonna throw 2 connectors back on those. Go ahead and see, if it draws power. I don't know. That's probably going to be our last little thing. Also, it was kind of running poorly. Looked, and the vacuum line was disconnected, so plug that back in, and now it runs pretty good. So I'm gonna fire it, move it, see if it's leaking transmission fluid. There's a puddle from it leaking oil, but that's oil, not something I'm worried about. It is freaking hot in here. It is like 80 degrees out right now. Just freaking windows open. Good Lord. Fire this thing up. Also fires up a little easier now. Still doesn't love to idle, but it's better than what it was. Let's pull a sucker forward and see if we got any. Oh, it goes into gear in it. Yeah, feels good. That should be good enough. I really want to reset this trip meter. Because I want to know how many miles I put on it. Turn. Oh, Lord. No, nothing. Okay. I guess we'll just go off 660. Okay, so here's where it was parked. Front wheels. Engine leakage. Looks like we might have a tiny leak, but I mean, compared to last time, because it was literally pouring out, so I'll take that. Actually sounds pretty good once you let her idle for a second. Let's go ahead and... Yeah, it friggin' spins the tires like no one's business now. It spins them in. Shit, it frickin'... Whatever line was disconnected definitely hindered its performance, I'll tell you that. Gotta be precise with the backup skills. That's good enough. Cool. Well, that's crawling underneath here, and I guess pet new, or, gotta dust that thing kicked up. Let's go ahead and put 2 new crimp connectors on it. See what happens. Or heck, maybe it's disconnected because that thing just goes up, down, up, down, up, down. But, I don't know. We'll figure that out. I'm gonna get those connectors on. I'll bring it all back here in a minute. Alrighty, everyone. So we are back with the Suburban today. Today, I got a pretty big surprise for this thing. And for you guys. Gotta put that window down first. Okay. So as many of y'all may remember, I said I wanted to throw this thing on the lift. And last night, our package got delivered. Our rough country package. So we got our front springs here. And then we've got all of our U-bolts. And right here we got our blocks for the rear. More bolts. All those dumb things. So, like I said, we got our U-bolts. We got our blocks for the rear. So, what is this? I got a service number, which I'm never going to service this thing because this is a $2,000 truck. And it looks like I got a couple of rough country stickers, so we'll probably end up putting those on at the end. However, we got our blocks. And here we have our new steering thingamajig. I have no clue how we put that on or where that even goes. So, basically, we're going to start installing the rear first. Have it backed in. So we'll do the rear, pull it out, and then back it in. So these will just go on, and then they just get new U-bolts. I might just end up cutting the old U-bolts off because they do look pretty bad. However, we need to figure out instructions first. Parts. I mean, I don't have anything that new, so I don't really care. But, still, parts. Okay. Blazer Suburban half-ton four-wheel drive. Blah, blah, blah. Don't care about that. Tools needed. Yeah, that's too much to read. Oh, well, there you go. Torque specs. Grade 5, grade 8. So you can see rear blocks. We didn't get rear springs or nothing. See, these people are worrying about too much. So basically, what we need to do
So we jack this thing up and we need to get this tire off. And then we need to get a jack or a jack stand and hold it by the body. And I think what I'm going to do is just use the jack, lift up the body a little bit, and then just use the jack and lower down the axle and bolt it all in. Okay, Gigi, quit. I know you're excited. So we need 2 per axle. So there's 2. There's 2. Here are the other 2. And here are 2 more. The question is, which ones are for the rears and which ones are for the fronts? I think these are going to be for the rear because they're longer and we're adding a block. In the front, we're still doing springs, so it'll stay short. So that's probably what this is. I don't know, we'll figure out there whichever one looks better on it. I'm not really one for reading instructions. I should probably do it though. You know, these are decent little blocks. I mean, the welds aren't that bad. But, you know, I sure would like to know which U-bolts are for the front and rear. Wait, you sniffing it? Because it doesn't even label it for you. I know we should have washers and nuts on all of them. Remove U-bolts, install front spring, install rear spring, install bolts. Okay, so that's where that guy goes. So he's going to go on the passenger side. Remove steering arm. And we're going to do the front here in a bit, so it doesn't really matter that much. Looks like this is all rear stuff. No, this is front stuff because that's got the joints in it. Okay, yada yada. Okay. Tighten upper shock bolt. Okay. Remove factory shock, remove factory shock, remove U-bolts, remove U-bolts, remove spring, install my loose spring. That's a funny thing is they sent me instructions for not a block. They sent me it for a fucking lift spring. So I don't know. Anyway, let's just look through here and see what we got. So we got these 3, which I'm assuming will be for this guy or something. I don't know. And then we got this guy, which is just nuts and bolts. We got this guy, which I think is the shocks, question mark. All new sleeves, all new those. So these must be for the shocks or something. This I have no fucking clue. It doesn't even show me what I fucking need either. Just my luck. So how many we got here? Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it should be for the rear. And then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That should be for the front. So this is what we need for the rear. Hopefully, is what they sent us. And we'll take a look at our shocks and see which ones are for the front and rear. I'm pretty sure all the shocks are the same. Anyway, I need to quit getting confused with that. We need to get this rear jacked up off the ground and get this tire removed here. See, the issues, I don't want to put it on anything I can't, get an impact on. Alrighty, everyone. So as you can see, this side's lifted up more. I actually just went ahead and installed it.
Took me about 2 hours because I had to cut the U-bolts and cut the bolt that goes through all the springs because it came with the block. And the top of the block has that little nub on it. And I had to drill into the one spring to get it to fit flush. And then I had to cut the bolt and lay it down. So who knows how long it's going to last. Anyway, got new shocks in, got a new lift on. Let's see how high she sits. It was at 34 without this. And now we're at 37 and a half, and we're at 34 and a half. So yeah, that about checks out. Like I said, we're going to get some bigger tires, probably around 33s to 34s. I don't want to push 35s on this because I have a feeling something's going to break. But yeah, like right at 34 on this side, it's at 37 and a half. So basically, we did get the 4-inch out of it. I mean, if you back up, you can see, I mean, I'm straight and you can see how the truck's angled. So anyway, I'm going to go charge my phone up so I can listen to some more tunes as I'm doing this. And I'll put you all on time lapse and I'll show you how I did the other side. Alrighty, everyone. So that little time lapse was only about 30 some odd seconds. That took me an hour and a half to do this side. It took me 2 hours to do that side. So we got a little faster. Wherever our tape measure went now, I want to check because now they're both up on the same level. So it may have raised it a tiny bit more compared to where it's flexed out at. I'm not even there on the tape measure. Okay. So that's right at 37 3/4 on this side. This side's right at 38 1/8. So this side will probably need to be shooken up a tiny bit, get it lowered down. But I mean, hey, you can barely even tell, like you can't even tell it's lean at all. So yeah, let's go fire this hog up and back outside, and hopefully none of this falls off. It's not falling apart yet. Brakes still work. Let's go check our brake lines and see if they're all up and whatnot, or if they're fine. Brake lines. They're fine. Everyone talks about how the brake lines on these need to be longer once you lift them, but for the front, yes. For the rear, not so much because they're not moving. Yeah. It's gonna look pretty nice once the front's done. Because, I mean, look at the freaking front springs right now. I mean, you can just tell how worn out those are. Like, that's bad. So, I mean, honestly, it doesn't look terrible. It does look kind of goofy with the back all lifted, but we'll fix that. Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to this freaking Suburban. Just to update y'all, we got the lift kit done. I did the rear and I filmed that. The front, on the other hand, I filmed some of it, but then I also lost some footage. Didn't really film a whole bunch to begin with, so losing it wasn't really that bad. I only had like maybe 2 minutes recorded of the front. But here she is. It's all done, buttoned back up, all tightened back up, new cotter pins, blah, blah, blah. Now, I was able to do the rear end on my own. That wasn't the difficult part. The front, however, was a pain in the ass.
Um, I had started this on, I want to say Thursday morning, and finally got done Sunday morning. So 4 days to do the front. And I mean, I got power tools, I got chop saws, I got everything you need to take it out. It's just the main issue I was having was where these shackles come down, the rubber pieces up there were so chewed out and everything else that I wanted to replace them. But in order to get them out, because we had the top bolts on these were, on both ends were snapped. Somewhat stump jumping this thing and broke them. And that's why the front end sat so low. So we actually had to go through and redo them, and that was the big pain in the butt because it was just so freaking hard to get those dumb rubber grommets out, and it was just a pain in the ass. So we got those done and everything else. We got new rough country springs, shocks, and all that. New U-bolts. This new, I call it the horseshoe, with the cone washers. It doesn't really sit flush. I don't know what that's about, but huge thanks to my grandpa and my dad for helping me with this, because there were some points in doing this lift kit where I just got so pissed off I was just about ready to start cutting like the frame and whatnot just to get it done. We started working so late into the night that I kept putting these shocks on upside down. So I wish I had a clip of it, but I was sitting here freaking laughing my ass off because I kept putting these shocks in wrong. And it was funny. I couldn't get them recompressed or whatnot. It was 12 o'clock at night, and I was just sitting here laughing my ass off trying to get this done. And I had to stop at that point because I knew I was going to screw something up. But the reason we had this wheel off was because when we were trying to get this guy off, we took this, I don't know, tie rod end, I guess, off so we could get a hit on the old one right here to pop the cone washers off. And as we were doing this, we had to hit this down and off. And in doing so, we stripped out this nut. So I just took the wheel off, got a new nut in there, redid that, cotter pinned it. I don't know what's going on with this cotter pin, but hopefully it stays in there. Probably won't do nothing. But also this guy was spinning, so we got him put back in. I was noticing that we definitely need a new tie rod end on this end for sure. But yeah, everything's done. I currently have engine parts on the way, cold air intake, spark plug wires, cap, rotor, a couple other things for this. And then I found some 3314 15 tires for this thing. These are only 31s and they look pretty small. Not quite sure if I'm going to paint it yet or just leave it. It kind of looks cool the way it is, just the old Survivor look. I kind of want to do a black or a two-tone gray and black, but we'll figure that out once we're actually done with the whole drivable part and everything else. Alrighty, everyone. So the last clip, I believe we were reconnecting the one side of the, what were we doing? Tie rod end? And waiting on ignition parts or something. I don't quite remember. I've done some work off camera because I just want this thing done out of the shop. So we got the wires and we got the cap and rotor. We got the plugs. We got the ignition coil. We got the cold air intake. We got all that thrown in it and arguably made it worse. I don't know how that happened. Whether I put something in wrong or it wasn't the right part or the plugs weren't gapped right or something. Runs a little worse, but it is also on the lowest side of fuel that I've ever had it on, which is under a quarter tank, so it might be pulling or trying too hard to pull fuel. So we went ahead and got all that done. As you know, we did the 4-inch lift and then I was looking for tires. Well, last night I was sitting on the couch, scrolling Marketplace, saw some tires, and I went and got them. So, on that note, this is the finished product of this Suburban build. Here she is. So, all in all, she turned out good. It's as tall as my square body. It's up to my shoulder. Well, not entirely up to my shoulder. It's about 1 inch lower than my shoulder. And I'm about 6 foot 6'1". So, yeah. Got a 4-inch lift in her. 37s clear on a 4-inch lift, fun fact. You will have to buy a little tiny spacer to space the wheel out a tiny bit. Not an actual spacer where it's the other bolts and whatnot on the aluminum. Just some sort of metal spacer to space them out a tiny bit, because they do end up rubbing right there. I'm sure you can see it on the rim. Same with over there. So all I did was I spaced them out. That side still might need a little more. It still might need a little more. It might just self-clearance out. I'll probably just let it self-clearance. It only does it when you're in reverse. So this axle's tweaking forward a little bit, even though we just did brand new lift and torqued them all to spec. So I don't know. But interior hasn't changed much. I don't really need to change the interior. It's arguably pretty good for a, there's the old air cleaner back there. It's arguably pretty good for a basically 40-year-old truck. Because what is that? That's an 89, so 11 plus 25. 11 plus 25. 36-year-old pickup. So, not bad. Oh, okay, here. So, cold air intake, new plugs, wires, new ignition coil back there. And yeah, I think the final step to this is to get a pressure washer in here and dust it all off real quick. I am going to pressure wash these tires off. You can definitely tell where they've been sitting for a while, and they got dust marks on them. So, yeah. What else here? But, yeah, I went through and polished this front. Not the best, but it looks better than what it did. This is honestly the first build I've done in a while. The last one was probably the red Ford. But yeah, this doesn't look half bad. I think I'm going to throw it up on Marketplace, see how much I can get out of it. Now, remind you, I traded the blue F100 for this. I bought that pickup for $1,800. Wheels, well, rims were $200. Tires were $100. And then another $100 in brake parts and whatnot. So that's right around $2,200-$2,300. And then for this thing so far, the engine stuff was about another $150. So let's say 23 plus 150, that's $2,450 plus $2,450 plus $600. So that's $3,050 plus 200, well, plus 150. So we're sitting right around 3,200 altogether in this. She still needs work, but right now we're at 32. So if I can get around 4 for it, I'd be happy. It's worth that in parts. But yeah, on that note, I guess this is going to be the end of the video. Hope y'all enjoyed.
this last little section I just want to get done, so I just knocked it out real quick. So sorry that y'all didn't get to see that, but I was just done messing with it. So it's done. I'm gonna list her up, see if anyone wants her. So on that note, 4,000 or best offer. Come get it. See y'all on the next episode.